So, not where we planned on being at all.
We were going to continue sort of heading up north, weren't we? But unfortunately, yeah, plans changed, don't they? Plans changed.
So basically we are back in the cottage. Just feels like a false start to the new year, but Daisy, bless her, hasn't been too well at all. So for those of you that don't know, she suffers with a brain condition that affects her back, and she was clearly in a bit of pain. We struggled to get her right.
We've been trying for like the past, she's been on and off not so good for like just over a week now, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And we've been trying, it's affected like her bowel movements and things like that as well. And we thought maybe she'd just eaten something a bit funny, didn't we? And we tried sort of sorting that out. But every time we got her back right again, she'd just she'd dip back down again. And so we tried medications that we normally give her to make sure that she's okay. But unfortunately that didn't work, so we just felt it were better to come back down to the cottage where next to her vets that deal with her all the time, that know exactly what to give her and how to look after her properly. So she's resting at the moment.
The cold wasn't helping as well. If you watched the Friday live, we were sort of talking about how cold it was in the van. So luckily it's just a stroke of luck, really, timing that we haven't got anybody in the cottage at the moment, so we're able to come back here and just let her be in the warmth, really, and try and get her right a little bit. And then lo and behold, we then got hit by this wall of snow, which were another stroke of luck, really, because we were already saying on the Friday live how cold it was, and then this snow kind of just
we were not expecting it, though. I mean, I don't know if any of you lot have been snowed in, but God blimey.
Yeah, it's been really bad up here.
Really bad.
And temperatures have just like plummeted to like minus.
Oh, Daisy needs my attention, hang on.
Yeah, temperatures just plummeted. So it was just a stroke of luck, really, that the cottage were available. We could bring Daisy back here. Daisy always comes first. For those of you that are dog lovers out there, because if you're not a dog lover, you'll be kind of going, what? So they've come back, Daisy always comes first for us. Always, we put her first. And so if we weren't able to come back to the cottage, we would have found somewhere warm to take her, and it's just not worth having her out in the cold, bless her, when she's
She
cold.
don't like not being on YouTube, though, does she? She were all cosy, then like laid down, and she was tucked up, really cosy and warm, and she just sort of decided, nope, I know you're on YouTube, so I'm coming on.
So not much to tell you, really, from the Friday live. All this has kind of happened between, the live and when you last saw us in the van on Friday and, now. So not much really to tell you. Emma's managed to do a few jobs in the cottage, which are really, really nice. I've done a little bit of my work and stuff that I needed to catch up with. So it's been quite productive, really.
Just, getting jobs done that normally we wouldn't have, been able to get done yet, and it would have been on like a kind of a to-do list.
But it's a bit like that on your marks, get set, go, isn't it? And then it's like a false start. So here we are, back again. I'm going to go have a bit of a wander out into outside, because I'm going a bit mad not being in van. So, but yeah, not really much to update you, really.
It's a bit frustrating not being able to get up and on the boat. Seems that we're kind of back in this area.
It's just the temperature, and obviously you can't now.
When it's cold,
snowing days have been poorly. It's just been like a false start to the new year, basically.
And the van is literally going nowhere at the moment anyway, is it, with the amount of snow outside? No. I am staying tucked up in here, cosy and warm, and keeping lovely and cosy with Daisy, aren't we, Daisy? That's my excuse, looking after you, staying in here. And let you go for a walk. Yeah.
I'm gonna take you out. You can come on the walk with me. I'll show you. I'll show you the surrounding area and what it looks like with 3 foot of snow or whatever it is. So I've just come out for a walk. I'm not one for kind of staying in the cottage. I feel like I'm making a bit of a mistake though, because I'm going up here, not really got sensible shoes on, and I don't think I'm going to get back down. But what I really, really want to do is show you how breathtaking the views are from up here. I've done this walk a few times, and it's absolutely breathtaking once you get to the top of here. So I'm going to plough through. I want to do it. I'm going to try not to slip. Let's see these views. As I was saying on the live on Friday, if you managed to catch that, it really is time for a diesel heater now in that van. When temperatures get this low and you get hit by this snow, it's just too much. I think I've made a bit of a mistake here, guys. It's really windy at the top of here. And the snow, I don't know if you can see, it's really, really thick as snow, is this? Whoa. Yeah, I'm not getting through there. I'm going to try and go this way. I'm going to show you it down here. So we love Spain, we love the heat. As we've said a couple of times, we cannot wait to get back in that heat and those open roads of Europe kind of beckoning just in the distance a few months away. I just can't wait. But what Europe and Spain doesn't have is this. You cannot beat the UK for this snowy, wintry vibe, can you? It's just absolutely incredible. I think today's a field temperature of -8. So if I look absolutely ridiculous, it's because I've got about 25 layers on. But Roman is nice and safe. She's parked up in a car park. It's quite safe, so she's all right. Just keep having to nip back to get a couple of bits, you know, you're like, because we didn't expect to be back in the cottage. We'd kind of loaded Romany up, and so like, oh, where's this, where's that, and that's in van. So I've had to come out a few times and get, you know, stuff that I've forgotten that's not been in the cottage because we've loaded it into the van. So it's just annoying more than anything. Look at this. This looks a bit icy, doesn't it? This looks really icy, guys. I'm gonna have to really watch my foot in here. This is actually really a really bad idea. Oh man. I know that going back there's a hill down as well, so it's gonna actually make no difference. I'm a bit stuck here. This doesn't maybe look like ice. I don't know if you can see, that is all ice there. All that where it's wet is ice. I'm having to really watch my step here. This is absolutely ridiculous. Oh my goodness. There's all that way to go yet. Look at that. But there's no way I'm going through all this and then not showing you these views with all this snowy kind of scene. Perfect opportunity for some cinematography, innit? Not that I'm that good at it, but I enjoy it, and that's the main thing. I don't know if you can see my hands. Look how red my hands are. Stupidly, I didn't bring any gloves. Let's look at those views. That was worth it, wasn't it? Wow. I love these wintry, snowy scenes. It's just so quiet and peaceful, and it is time to get back though now and get a brew. Look at my hands. I made a bit of a mistake here, really. Nearly slipped twice, and I literally can't feel my fingers. Look at the snow here. That's crazy. I don't think you can see how deep that is up that wall. I remember snow kind of like back in the 90s, and me and my mum having to kind of dig ourselves out of the garden, and it just don't snow like that anymore, does it? But this is close to it. The amount of snow that we're having here, and because we're kind of up in the moors where our cottages, it just, yeah. I just remember like all them snowy days, you know. So I managed to warm my hands up. That were really cold. Had a brew, and then just replied to a load of emails. By the way, if I haven't responded to your message over Christmas, the comments kind of just came in, and over the Christmas period, I didn't have time like I normally do to kind of respond to everybody. So I am slowly but surely responding to all your lovely comments. So just bear with me for that. Emma wants to show you this wall that she's built.
So I've been doing this, look, keeping myself busy. I hate being sat around doing nothing though, and when I'm looking after Daisy, I can't cope with it just being sat around doing nothing. So I've done this, I've tiled this, it's like pebble tiles. So I've been doing this, I've got it all on. I think it looks pretty good actually. Still needs finishing off on top. But just, you know, little jobs that you keep meaning to do. And our kind of kitchen is like a sort of a bit of a fairy woodland type theme, you know. We couldn't have out normal, could we? Because we're not normal people. But I always feel a bit, when I come back to the cottage, I feel a bit lost. I feel like there's just so much space around me. And I kind of feel a bit like a borrower, you know, in a big massive house. So if I keep myself busy and I do little jobs, I kind of feel like I'm sort of getting myself back into being here. I feel like I'm more at one with the place, because our home really is the van, you know. So when we are back here, it kind of almost feels like you're staying in somebody else's place. So it's just kind of making it feel a little bit more like my own. So we've got done this wall, done a coat of paint as well, and got that done. So yeah, just getting little jobs out of the way really.
It's so clever, Emma. She made this this light fitting ages ago, all by hand, didn't you, Chick?
I did, yeah.
So good.
I like a bit of DIY though. For those of you that haven't sort of been watching us for that long, you might not have seen the cottage because we don't come back here that often. But it's full of all these quirky little things. I absolutely love it. We've got things that we've collected from all over, things that have been left to us by family. And it's an absolutely kind of beautiful, magical place to come back to. We are so lucky that we've got this to come back to be honest. You're feeling a bit more lively now, aren't you?
I think it was just an excuse, Daisy, wasn't it, to come back to the cottage?
Did you just want to come back? You want to get warm?
It's like, let's go back then.
Look at tail wagging now. You're showing off for YouTube. On last week's live, I nearly ruined everything by answering the questions that you'd been saving up, didn't I?
I know, I've been saving them up for ages. Like, since Wales, I've been saving, like, some questions.
But now it's coming handy, because now we're kind of stuck back in cottage. We can answer the questions
we'll answer
today,
it. It's a good
can't
opportunity,
we?
yeah.
So Nicola and Andy had asked, would we want to kind of be full-time in the van, or are we full-time in the van? Even if we've got like a patch of land to sort of be on, would we want to sort of escape off and come back to being in a permanent home, or just kind of being in the van, or what would we need to do?
So we live most of the time in Romany. We have this cottage, obviously, that we're sat in now, and we also have the canal boat. So we will be kind of living / working on the canal boat once it's up and running. So yeah, we've kind of got all three. I would like a patch of land eventually abroad. That'd be nice.
Oh, I'd love that. Yeah, I'd love to have some land abroad, but I don't think that it's. I couldn't live in the van on land permanently. I couldn't do that because the van's for travelling. For us.
Yeah, that's the only reason the van is. It's almost travel first. We've said it on other vlogs before. It's travel first, and Romany provides us with a means to do that.
Yeah, the ability
basically.
To do it. So it's not
accommodation on wheels.
Yeah, it's not that we want to live in a van as such. It's just that that's the logical.
Yeah, we like to travel
travelling.
99% of the time. So that's the logical thing. And when the cottage is available, it's kind of nice to come back. We've got a lot of storage stuff here. So it's kind of handy for kind of switching over clothes and things like that every once in a while.
Bath instead,
And when you do come back, it's almost a nice treat when you do come back, which I think if we didn't have a house and we didn't have the boat and we were just a van, I probably struggle with that because I don't know, like I say, it's not about van life for us. It never really has been. It's about travel, which is why we've got a boat as well, because it's not just about van life.
And it's a hard one because I've seen other kind of vloggers where they live full time in the van. They've got literally nowhere else to go. And obviously a lot of people do it as well through necessity, not just through choice. Some people it's through choice. But I think that if we were full time, nowhere else to go at all, I think I'd be at a point where, if I were, obviously my health ain't always great, and if I was really unwell, I don't know what I'd do then, because I've seen people, other vloggers, have to kind of hire out hotel rooms and stuff when they've been really poorly, and and if the weather gets really, really bad, where they have to kind of go and maybe book and stay in an Airbnb, or I won't want to be in that situation. I like the fact that we have a base. I make no apologies for that. A lot of people kind of believe that if you're not full-time all the time in a van with nothing else and nowhere else to go back to, then you're not van lifers. We don't claim to be van lifers as such. To me, it's about the fact that that's where we spend most of our time. That is our means for being able to travel and enjoy life and live more freely.
I'd say that we're our primary home, if that makes sense. Like, that's our home.
And we do feel a bit weird. Like, we come back here to the cottage, and it's nice, and it's a nice treat, but it also throws you off a little bit.
Yeah, small doses.
You're not used to being in such a big space. But then, sometimes as well, then you get used to being settled, even if it's just for like a week. back in the cottage, and then you go back to the van and you're thrown off again and you're out of your routine with that.
It's not worth it,
it is
really.
difficult going backwards and forwards sometimes. But it is nice to have that bit of a break as well, and a bit of a kind of a let's just root ourselves, let's get a hold on everything again. And it's a security in a way as well, isn't it? Because you've got somewhere kind of solid that, you know, what happens if the van was to need to be repaired, or if somebody stole it, or do you know what happens then? We've got a solid base basically where we can always come to, which we are very, very, very lucky and very appreciative of. We've worked hard for it, don't get me wrong, but we are very appreciative of the fact that we do have the ability to have this and to be able to travel. But yeah, I think I don't know. Kind of, I don't think I'd want to give this up as a fallback. I think that would be my answer to that question.
Not.
I wouldn't want to give it up as a fallback.
Good
or
question,
something similar,
though.
something abroad or whatever, something similar where you've got a base. So I'm just going to make us a hot chocolate. Got this lovely hot chocolate off my sister for Christmas. It is like the nicest hot chocolate I've ever had in my life. It's lovely. It's so weird though, being able to like just flick a kettle on and boil it.
Yeah, poor Gretel, the kettle.
So strange.
Sure.
Anyway, we've had another question, similar questions from Dave and then from Andy and the missus. We're basically both asking, like, do we think that we accumulate things over time and need a bigger space, or would we just want a bigger van as kind of time goes on? So that is something that we have talked about and agreed on certain points, disagreed on other points over the last few years. So before we got Romany, I wanted to get a Luton box van. Reese didn't want to get a Luton box van because of the limitations on kind of certain areas that you can travel to. And I think we talked about this in our live last week a little bit as well, or not so long ago anyway. So it is something that we've considered, and it is something that we wouldn't write off. We don't kind of take it off the cards. Romany is great, the size that she is, for getting us around. And she's just big enough for us to be living in. She's not, too kind of big. She's not too small. But there are times when it does get a little bit frustrating where you would like to have your own separate spaces. And things like having an indoor shower would be really nice. So what I would say is, I think accumulating stuff, because we've got this base, because we've got the cottage, we can accumulate as much stuff as we want and put it in here. So that's not an issue for us. But in terms of clothes and stuff like that, as you know, I love my clothes. Reese loves his clothes. So we tend to take quite a lot of clothes with us when we're away in the van. And especially if we're going away kind of in Romany for a long period of time abroad, where we've not got an option of coming maybe back down through the country and swapping over and picking up more stuff. So I think for that reason, I would like to have something with more closet space. I would like to have an indoor shower. That would be a real treat. And probably more of like an indoor toilet with a door type thing. I mean, at the moment we've got the curtain that kind of separates off the toilet area to the sort of living area. So we've got that privacy, but it would be nice to have a proper room for it. So I think I wouldn't write it off. I would always consider it and I wouldn't write it off. I wouldn't go for a motorhome, which I think is what Andy and the missus had asked about. I wouldn't go for a motorhome. Just not my kind of choice. I don't feel solid enough and stable enough. But I would consider a Luton box van. And I think Reese is kind of coming around to a similar idea in the future as a future plan. Aren't you?
Yeah, so great questions, guys. Thank you so much. More focusing on Andy and the missus question there about would we consider a bigger van, because I think obviously because we're in the cottage it's kind of explained Dave's question, but my honest answer at the moment is yes, absolutely. I love Romany to pieces, and as we've said time and time again, don't want to kind of go through all the stuff that we've said, but Romany is great for getting about. Like, get her in a Morrison's car park or any other supermarket car park any day of the week, and she's just like driving a car, really. When you're living in a van, which is essentially what we're doing, you quickly, how can I put it? You do need space, right? So as much as Emma and I love each other and we get on great, we're best of friends as well as husband and wife, which is brilliant, but you tend to want your own space as well, don't you? That's just normal in a relationship. And it's just little things like just having that space, especially in the wintertime. In summer it's not too bad because you're not really in the van anyway. You're sat out, you're walking, you're exploring. But in wintertime, when the dark nights come in, you're in your van. And we're not really ones for watching. We watch some YouTube channels, but we're not really ones for kind of sitting in front of the TV or anything like that. So it does kind of make you think, oh, I need a shower, or, you know, the heat, for example, like we're talking about a diesel heater. In a lot of Luton vans, they put a log burner in, and it's just kind of this idea of that little bit more space. And like Emma says, when we first kind of got Romany, I was just like no to a Luton. But as we've had Romany, and I've kind of seen other people's Luton vans, I've kind of gone, oh yeah, that makes sense. Wouldn't it just to tell, I'm just going to nip in the shower, I'm just going to get a hot shower, or, you know, Emma's sat, you know, down on the downstairs part, and I could go kind of in the bedroom area and read my book. Or it's just silly things like that. In order for me to read a book in Romany, we've got to put the whole thing down, which then if Emma's still awake means she can't then make a cup of coffee on Gretel the kettle. So it's just that little bit of extra space. So I wouldn't say at the minute, I wouldn't say yes or no. It's definitely consideration. It's definitely something we've talked about. We may feel different in the summertime, but then you kind of forget how difficult it is in winter. So yes, it's definitely, to answer the question, would we consider it? Yeah, we probably would consider it eventually. Obviously, vans don't last forever. Romany is just a baby, really. She's hardly done any miles at all. So, and she's an excellent van, like she never misses a beat. But obviously, she won't last forever. So there's kind of that thinking of getting something different eventually or at some point. And a good thing about Lutons as well is that the back of them, your house essentially, can be taken off and put onto a different Luton chassis. So there's that thing of once you've got your little cottage, your little home on wheels as you want it, that can actually be removed, and it's not that difficult to do that. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that's then a forever kind of home because you just put it onto newer models of Luton vans, right? So yeah, hope that answers your question. It's a brilliant question, and one that will probably get us thinking even more, actually. I had a self not chocolate and didn't let me one.
You didn't ask for
It's just
one.
rude, isn't it, that?
You didn't ask for one. It's really nice, though. It's lovely and cosy, I have to admit. And
Oh, lovely.
there's no better to me than a rocking chair
And
and
I've
a
got
hot
a cup of hot chocolate.
A hot chocolate and a rocking chair is not better than that.
Wow.
If we do end up getting a Luton van one day, like, I want to be able to figure out a way of having a rocking chair in it. You know, I mean, obviously you couldn't drive around with it going all over the place, but
in pieces when you pulled up.
But you know, if you could like lock it down while you're driving, and then you could, so that I could sit in back and.
Yeah, well, you can do it with them. You can put sofas in them
That'd
and
be
stuff.
lovely. I'd really enjoy that. Anyway, back to the question. So, I think it was Emily that had asked about whether we'd consider moving our channel over to kind of being filming, living in a permanent like house abroad or something like that. She'd asked. Something about whether we'd buy property abroad and would our channel ever move towards that. And I think I'm probably guessing that you probably watch some of the same other YouTube channels that we do, where
Yeah, they're all starting to do that.
People have kind of been moving off to either building their own property abroad or buying land abroad,
or even like, you know, renovating houses in the UK. A few of them are doing that.
So I think the answer to that would be we definitely would like at some point in the future to either buy a little kind of tiny house. You all know how obsessed I am with a tiny house.
Finally gets it. That'll be the right episode, won't it?
Like, imagine that.
You won't miss that because
so happy.
I finally got my tiny house.
I'll be so happy. A little sort of tiny house, but abroad, definitely. Because for me, I'd want somewhere with some heat, where we'd got a base abroad. So I would like to, I'd definitely consider at some point in the future looking for a kind of tiny house in like Portugal or Spain. Probably preferably Spain, I think, but you know, prices are cheaper in Portugal, aren't they, usually?
Spain, we just love Spain so much.
But there's a lot of ins and outs around that sort of thing now with the dreaded Brexit and all that sort of stuff.
It's a nightmare. And from my perspective, even if that happened, we would never stop travelling in a van.
No, we wouldn't.
That's just never going to happen. We've done it for over a decade now.
Yeah.
And all intentions of doing that forever.
It would definitely just be a base, really, to go back to. Like, this is a base to go back to.
Yeah, it'd be the same, but abroad. So we would then do van life across Europe and have a base back there. But, you know...
But we wouldn't be kind of moving to where our channel becomes a kind of a an off-grid channel or something like that, because that's, you know, in a permanent home or anything like that, because it's just not us, is it?
No,
We have
we
a
love
hub,
travel.
don't we, for travelling?
Yeah,
You know, and I
it's
think
the travel.
I think that for me, it's probably more just I can't sit still. You know, I like to keep moving. I like to experience things in life. As soon as I'm in a permanent place for even like a week, I start renovating stuff and do it because I can't stand still. I have to keep my mind going all the time. So
Even when we pull up somewhere in Rome and it's just like, oh, this needs fixing, that needs
yeah.
fixing. Always tinkering with
I
something.
started carpeting one at doors in back, didn't I? Because we've never got round to carpeting back doors in Romany, so I've done one of them now. Still waiting to do the next one, but it's a bit too cold to do it at the moment. But I undid that a few weeks ago, didn't I? So it's just, you know, kind of, yeah, I'm not really good at standing still, really. So
Good question, though.
yeah, good question.
Very good question. Hope that answers it.
And what did we had? We had one from, oh, I can't remember his name. Was it Tom?
I think it was Tom, yeah.
Yeah, I think
We're not
Tom.
very good with names, sorry.
He asked about your artwork.
Yes, that were it. Yeah, so Tom had asked, he'd sort of put, Reese, you mentioned that you're an artist, what kind of artwork do you do? So I paint on like leather, like recycled leather, like scraps of leather, that kind of thing, like recycle them, and I paint them and I make them into like wallets, do a lot of like tarot card cases, things like that. So yeah, and then I did sell them on Etsy at one point, but that didn't go too well. So, but yeah, like usually commission work, word of mouth commission work really. So I've got art all over the world, and I enjoyed it. But there's a funny story behind that that I'm actually gonna focus a vlog on it at some point, because I couldn't draw a stickman, so it were
Genuinely.
a running joke.
He couldn't draw a circle, that's what it was.
The kids used to say when they were little, oh, Reese, draw a stickman, because it was that funny to them, because I was that bad. And it had come from an experience I'd had as a kid in school, where I'd been embarrassed basically by one of my teachers, and they were supposed to have drawn this shoe or something, and he held it up as an example of how not to draw a shoe. How embarrassing is that for a kid? And so I had it in my head from that word, that point on, that I couldn't draw, couldn't paint, and it was kind of this mental block that I had. And then a friend of mine, Pete, is an incredible artist, and he said to me one day, he said, just see things as lines. And there was something just clicked in my brain when he said that. And all of a sudden, it was just like I saw everything in lines.
I've never seen out like it, honestly.
I just could. It was literally overnight, and I came down. I said to Emma, I said, "Oh, I'm going to start painting." And Emma were like, "Well, you know, love, it might take you quite a while to learn
whenever
it."
he sets his mind to anything, he just does it. Like, he's one of them people that whatever he sets his mind to, he goes for it 100%. And at like 100 mile an hour, and he never puts a limit on himself. So he always achieves whatever he sets his mind to, whatever it may be. He gives it 100%, and he's always like the best at it. But this one of them things where I was like, it's kind of, you know,
Can't
like
draw a stick, man.
you know, if you're tone deaf, like, oh, I'm gonna be a singer. No, you're not, are you? Do you know, like, there's certain things in life that I just think you can train yourself to do. Like, if you're not tone deaf, you can train yourself to sing, can't you? And sing better and improve. But if you're completely tone deaf, you can't really undo that, can you? And it's the same like with art. In my mind, I was just thinking, well, you know, you can't even draw a circle to be able to draw a stick man. So, you know, every time you draw a circle, like an egg. So we're like, well, you know, you're not really, you can't make yourself an artist, can you, if you can't really draw a stick man? And so I just thought, oh, he's going to be so disappointed, because this is going to be the one time where he's going to set his mind to something. He's just not going to be able to do it. And literally, I'm not joking yet, within like the space of a couple of days, he were bringing this stuff up. Well, who's drawn that? And I thought, there's no way you've done that. No, you're just painting this stuff. And these amazing pictures. And I'm still baffled. I am still baffled to this day by how on earth your mind just kind of turned itself to that, because it's amazing, your artwork. It really is. It's really beautiful.
I enjoy it, and I do things that calm my mind down. So Emma touched on it a little bit there, where my mind goes at 100 miles an hour, and it does, and it never stops. And so I have to do things like consciously to deliberately calm my mind down. Otherwise, it's just bouncing off of a million ideas flying through my head all at the same time. So cold water swimming, that's why I do the cold water swimming stuff. Although I don't need to at the minute, just stand outside. And the art is the same. So the art, it relaxes me. I put some music on, and it does that. So it's a little bit difficult to do it in the van. I kind of get by with it best I can in the van. But yeah, I enjoy it. You know, I enjoy painting and drawing and.
And I think it's a lesson for people when you've been told by at school, because there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that are really negatively impacted by school. Some people love it and they have really good experiences. But I always think it's one of them things where education it's not kind of one mould fits everybody. You know, it just don't work like that. And so some people will thrive and they'll be really popular, or they'll be really, really smart and clever, or both things, you know, whatever. And some people are really good at sports and all that sort of thing. And I were very much like Reese's, where I were kind of, I wasn't really very good at anything. I were absolutely useless at sport, and I were always told to sit on the sidelines and paint my nails because I were literally dangerous to people. I still am, unfortunately. That has not improved. Even with my twitches, I may throw things more, but not in a good direction usually. I was never really good at all like that, and I wasn't clever in my mind. I wasn't smart. I wasn't intelligent. I never got good results. I spent years and years. I can remember at junior school sitting reading the same book and having to sort of sit out a PE. Kind of killed two birds with one stone, I think, for teachers, where it got me out of actually being dangerous in PE and kind of tried to educate me in my reading. But I've got, I've dyslexia. I'm dyslexic, so it were, oh, she'll grow out of it, she'll get better. I used to write with my left hand. I were made to write with my right hand, and all these types of things where throughout school I just never thought I was that smart. And it wasn't until I was on my own with my children and I went back to study at university as a means of kind of, well, there's only me now as a sole provider for my kids. I'm going to have to do something with my life and bring in an income. And I went to study at university, and it were a teacher there I remember saying to him, I'm no good at this sort of thing. Like everybody else, yeah, their essays sound like it's out of a textbook. Mine doesn't. I can't do it. And I'll never ever forget him saying to me that it's anybody can regurgitate something out of a textbook, but it's really difficult to write something that anybody can understand. And he said, what you've got, Emma, is a talent. You can write something that anybody can understand. And all of a sudden I thought, wow, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not that sort of, thick in my words in my head. That's how I would have described myself. And I thought, maybe I'm not that bad. Maybe I can do something. And I suddenly got this bit of, just a little bit of belief in myself. And so I think if you've gone through school, I don't think we get many young viewers, but if we've got young viewers watching now who, maybe in the background your parents are watching it and you're going through school and somebody's kind of saying you're not going to amount to anything, which is what I got told. And you got told, didn't you? And if you're getting anything like that, or you've had out like that throughout your growing up and it's impacted you as an adult, don't listen to it, because everybody has a talent. Everybody has something to offer the world. And, with a little bit of practice, you can achieve anything, even when other people don't
That's
think
really,
you can.
yeah,
And
it's
I
really
didn't think
true,
you
is
could,
that?
did I? But look at what you
Yeah,
achieved.
and
You know
it's
what I
really
mean?
true. And I'm gonna, well, I think we both are, tell our stories. This is what we have in our head, so this is coming up at some point. I'm not going to put any pressure on either of us, but at some point in my head, I want to film a little bit like, a mini movie is probably the wrong word, but it'll be that kind of feel to it, to kind of tell my story. Because I think
Because we're that interesting.
Probably don't even want to see it. Let me know if you want to see that.
I'll be switching off to that then.
Switching off. Everybody's making a note now. Andy and the missus are like that. No, we're not going to watch that. Remember not to watch that. But yeah, a mini movie essentially about my story, just because I think it'll help, because it were a false start to. School didn't agree with me. We'll put it that way, right? A little bit of a teaser. School didn't agree with me, and what came after for me to get from that, where I was basically like, again, similar to Emma, told that I wouldn't achieve anything, that kind of thing. And I'm going to kind of tell the story, and the things that, I don't mean this to sound egotistical at all, because I'm listening to it in my head, it probably will, but kind of all the things and all the adventures and all the kind of things that I've done throughout my life that are quite different, I guess, than your normal stuff. and I hope by filming that'll kind of give people that kind of thing of actually what that narrative that they told me way back when wasn't true at all. You can achieve anything and do anything and be anyone you want to be. And so I want to kind of film that, and Emma's kind of going to do her kind of story as well, and we'll kind of put that out at some point.
And we don't have to fit in a box, I think, is the key thing to
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
isn't it?
People put you in these little boxes. It's like you must stay in that little square box there and don't move out
and
of
if
it.
you don't fit, then that's it. You're kind of thrown off to the the broken pile, if you like. And I think a lot of time from school, people do feel broken. And I hope that just every now and again, when we talk about little things and we give little tips of things that mean something to us, or that we want you to take from it, we're not trying to sort of say we know it all, because we don't at all. We haven't got a clue half the time what we're doing, let alone what anybody else should do. We don't even know where we are most of the time. But we just hope that like little things that we say might make a little bit of a difference. We always talk about this community that we've got together with you, and we want for us to be able to help in little ways, if possible, anybody that is struggling with something, is feeling a bit down, or is feeling like maybe can't do something, or scared of taking a step, or whatever it may be. So don't let anybody tell you you can't do something.
Not. And what this community that we're building on YouTube is really good for as well, is we're kind of meeting you guys. That's why we're wanting to do more lives, really, because we're quickly discovering from the comments and stuff and the emails that you send us, which are lovely, that actually there's a lot of like-minded people out there as well, which is really nice to kind of know that that you guys are out there.
It's actually a bigger kind of community of people that want to escape that norm, if you like, than there is
that's
it.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are in it want to get out of it. So, and a bit of a spoiler alert for you. We've had quite a few people over the last kind of couple of years that we've been doing this asking if we're ever going to bring out like any hoodies or anything like that. So it felt a bit pointless doing it when we had like 100 people watching us. But now we've got some more people and we feel like we are a bit more of a community together. We are going to bring out some merch. We're going to bring out some merch.
Every Tuesday.
You can all get your custard cream.
300 people with the same hoodie on.
Get your coaster out and your cup out, So we're going to bring out a few bits of merch.
And
when we do that, we want you all to send us pictures, if you're willing for us to post your pictures onto YouTube.
Messages on other social media things.
Yeah, you'll have to message us with your pictures, and we will upload them onto YouTube of you in your hoodies and, having your custard creams and your Romany Pirate cups.
Right, guys, we are going to leave it there for the simple fact that I'm absolutely starving, so I'm going to go and make something.
I'm not making out. We're in cottage. We're ordering.
Oh, we're ordering.
I don't know how we're going to get it up here in the snow, but we're ordering.
We might film that.
We're in cottage. Let's take a bit of a treat.
If they can't deliver, it'll be cheese on toast because I'll have to cook. But no, thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll put a notice out as to whether we're doing a live on Friday or not this week, or it may just be kind of a case of getting Daisy better. And then picking back up with a vlog next Tuesday. But I'll let you know on the YouTube community tab and on other social medias as well. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next week.
Take care. Write your own story.